cracking, Craig? You used to be cool, man.
See, you still are, though.
Nah.
Wow, badass.
Yeah, right. My middle name is Badass. Or just Ass, I'm not sure. I can't be cool.
This is me now, you know?
Dude. Man. We're cool. So the question today is, Craig.
When did we lose our cool? Is that the way we're going with this? I cut you off.
Why? As we get older, do we get less cool?
God.
Do we even? Were you ever cool?
First of all, it's a good starting point. Maybe I thought I was.
Okay.
Maybe I thought I was. Yeah, we have to come with. Let's go with the premise that once we were cool.
Yeah. I'll set a little bit of a time here,
right.
So we're not just freestyling for an hour. Though I know that's what everyone wants. All our fans.
Our
fans know how cool we are. All 20, 21 of them. We stuck on 21 still?
I think we're stuck on 21.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe this would be the breakout video.
I mean, I posted some cool shorts, guys. Go and watch them. Everyone watched
Really
them, actually.
cool.
Everyone did watch them, but nobody subscribed. So. How cool was portrayed back in the day? Like Arthur Fonzarelli. How was that?
Well, that was supposed to be 1950s cool.
Yeah, that's 1950s.
1950s cool filmed in the 1970s.
Right.
Yeah.
He used to bang the jukebox and the right song would
That's
come
right.
on.
In his
Know how to hit it just right.
It's kind of a tidy whitey T-shirt. He used to wear the leather jacket. Oh God. See, you thought that was cool.
On a serious note, because I know you a bit and we've talked a lot. You never. I mean, I'm not saying that you have to drink and smoke and all that to be cool.
Okay, that's true.
But you never did any of those things.
I never did any at all.
So,
yeah. I was always... Okay, so here's the thing. Back, and I remember this, I was in Catholic school, actually. I briefly went to Catholic, all-boys Catholic high school, briefly. And we used to have these... what were they called? We had a social worker at the school, and groups of different kids, everyone had to do it, would all meet once a week to talk, you know, kind of like support groups. It was like therapy, but it was like obligatory group therapy. It was, but it was, you know, to talk, to, you know, have a healthy, you know, development and, you know, to be able to talk to someone and share. It was actually pretty cool, actually.
A bit like what I force you to do here.
This is really actually group therapy. Group therapy. So it was actually, and we had a Marist brother, right? It was a kind of, it's not a Marist. It's not a priest. We're going off topic here. No, it's not a priest. And they used to laugh and say this is not actually what it is, but we used to call them like male nuns because they couldn't do mass. But it's not that quite. And anyway, so all the teachers in the school were Marist brothers. Anyway, don't look up. My expertise on the Catholic religion.
Playing with boys or not? None of that.
They were all actually. I have to say, it was not the school for me. There was no music program, and it was mostly like jocks, and that was not me either. So I was happy to leave, and also only boys. So it was another reason why I was happy to leave. But I have to say, the teachers, I had a lot of nice teachers and cool teachers, and this guy was great, actually. So when we used to get together, and I was like one of the few people in that school, because it was, you know, I was a metalhead. I had long hair, so I thought I was really cool, right? I used to have, you know, long earrings and things like that, and
people would come up to you and go, dude, where do you get any weed around here? And you'd be like, I don't do that.
And they were all blown away because we talked about like drug use and drinking. And I had this thing about, you know, everyone thought I was going to be a pothead or something.
Of course.
And I had this thing about being straight edge, and no one believed me. I mean, it was so, but I thought maybe in my head there was something cool about being a straight edge kind of metalhead that everyone thought would be a burnout or something. And I wasn't.
How many times did you hear people say, "You fucking with me, right, dude?"
Yeah, I mean, that's what they pretty much thought.
Yeah.
Seriously. So, I don't know. But I think, you know, to go back to the question, when do you lose your cool? It depends who you ask, right? I mean, who's determining the cool level?
Yeah, it's always a matter of perspective, I guess.
Yeah,
I mean, I never thought I was cool. I thought for a while there that when I would meet new people and chat with them and stuff, that they maybe found me interesting.
Okay.
But that's a different thing. I didn't think they were like, wow, this guy's so cool. I don't know.
What about like when you're in high school, right? You think you're the...
Go back.
Yeah, you go back. But when you're in high school, you think, you know, your parents don't understand anything, right? But
they didn't.
They didn't, right? They didn't understand anything. But, you know, it's funny. Then when you get older and you become a parent, you start to get older, and you're like, Jesus, I didn't understand anything when I was in high school, right? So you think you're really cool in high school, right? And you know your parents don't understand anything, and your kids start thinking you're not funny anymore. Because I think there's a phase when like your kid, when like, at least for me, you know, like when your son's like 12 and 13, you're like cool, right?
Yeah.
As you go on, and when they get older, 16, 17, you haven't gotten there yet, but you know you're less cool. But then there's, I hope, you know, with my son, there's like kind of coolness in the uncoolness. You know, like you're a cool dad, but you're not cool anymore, right? You know, but I think at a certain point, like there's a shift, even when you get a little older, when you're like 19 and 20, in your 20s, you meet high school kids and they think you're kind of still cool because you're in that younger area. But then as you gradually get older, you for maybe a high school kid, and see, I'm so out of touch with maybe what a high school kid thinks even. What do you think? That you start thinking, so as they get older, then they kind of go out of that realm of understanding what's cool. Like, I mean, think about like what kids do now with, you know, on their posts and their TikToks and everything. I look at memes. I was like, really? You guys think that's funny? So I'm totally out of touch at this point.
I mean, I don't know. I see lots of memes meant for today's generation, and I still think they're funny.
Okay, see, but I'm older than you. Some of them I'm like, really? Really?
You're like my big sister's age, really.
Okay.
So you're not that much older than me.
Okay, but
Like,
still. So
10 years or so.
yeah, okay.
Not
So,
not
but
crazy.
I mean, maybe it's just
It's
me.
not like some of our other colleagues where I say to them, you know, they were born when I graduated high school. I was still in primary school when you were still in primary school when I was born. So
Okay.
you're not crazy.
So okay, we're not
old.
like multiple generations
Yeah,
apart.
yeah.
Okay.
You're not my dad or anything.
No. Big sister age.
Yeah, so as a young kid, like say me around 10 or something, like you were saying, I think me and my siblings, we thought we were really cool. I've seen photos of us wearing like fingerless gloves and all this sort of stuff and thinking we must have been really cool, really caps backwards all the time and stuff. But really, wool fingerless gloves in summer in Australia was really cool.
Yeah.
I guess that's what cool kids
Cool,
did then.
because all the cool kids
must have
were
been.
fingerless jobs.
Yeah. We don't go earlier than that because I crawled around as an idiot, like pretending to be a dinosaur. So I'm not talking
Sure.
about that. That was a cool thing to do. And the early days, I didn't have very much self-awareness. But I think I remember in high school being very self-aware, and that probably wasn't a good thing because I knew I wasn't one of the cool
Okay.
kids, and I knew I wasn't cool. But I knew I wasn't one of the nerd group, and I knew I wasn't one of the uncool group kids.
Okay.
I was
So
sort
you
of like
fit in
a
a comfy
floater.
A floater and a comfy that you can be considered okay in any group.
That's right. I could drift around a bit. Not really that the cool kids liked me in any way,
Yeah.
but they didn't have beef with me. See, that's a cool
Okay.
thing to say. They didn't have beef.
Beef
with
with
me.
you, yeah. Yeah, and you stay out of trouble.
So
The
I
kid-
still learnt the lingo.
the lingo.
cool lingo. You got
Beef.
beef with me, Craig? Did people have beef
Yeah.
with you?
Now all the cool kids say beef.
I know you're a vegan now, but did anyone have beef with you?
No, you know, I was in a really good place in high school.
Okay.
All right, so I probably thought I was really cool. I think really, if you get down to it, every age thinks that, you know, they're cool at that age, and as you get older, I mean, even thinking about, and sorry, son, you know, I'm talking, but like even my son, I've seen style changes. Like what he wears, what he thought was like, sorry, I'm using his lingo, fire, right? He goes, oh, you know, that shirt's fire. I've seen within a year his style already change,
Yeah,
right? So I
okay.
mean,
It's
your
not cool
coolness
anymore. It's not
level,
fire.
yeah, it's not
It's
fire
lame.
anymore. It's lame, right? I don't
Oh,
know.
no.
I don't. I'm so out of touch. Do kids say lame still? Oh man,
kids
this
don't know.
is embarrassing.
I don't know. I'm lucky. My kids just wear what we buy for them.
Yeah, no, that's not gonna fly at my house. That is not gonna fly. And it's like when he goes get stuff, he orders online and he goes shopping on his own. I can't. No.
Actually, I'm lying. None of my kids want to wear what we get for them. But they wear it. They don't
They
want
wear it
to.
'cause they have no
They
choice.
argue and fight, but they don't want it. Yeah.
Right. So I mean, I think your coolness evolves
Mm-hmm.
depending on your age. So I think there's that. And I'll get back to a thought about that when you get old, because there's something cool about getting old, I think. But I want to turn around.
Yeah.
Saying, you know, replying to what you said, I was a metalhead and I played music and I was in a band.
That's all cool things.
That was all cool things. So I had
Yeah.
respect of a lot of kids. I would say relatively popular in high school, but I had even another advantage that made me more accepted by different groups, right? So I was a metalhead. There was like the Visions in the 80s. We had like the Burnouts who were into like classic rock from, you know, the 70s and 60s. They listened to Grateful Dead t-shirts, Led Zeppelin t-shirts. I was into kind of poser, you know, lipstick metal kind of heavy metal. So I was in a band. We had a really hot girl in the group as our singer. So that was another thing. So one of the hottest girls in the school as our singer,
Wow.
and I was really in with her. But my advantage was I was best friends with the best jock in the whole school,
Oh.
right?
Okay.
So
How
even
does
the
that work?
well, yeah,
Or it's like
'cause-
these TV shows where the odd couples become best friends, because usually it's the jocks with the jocks and stuff in other TV shows.
for sure. And he played drums, and we played in the band together.
okay.
And I
Okay.
apologize, Rich. He's never seen our podcast, but and I remember this. We broke
He's
out
a
of.
jock. He's got no time for us.
now he's my age. So,
Yeah.
but he's a busy guy though. He probably does.
Still cool.
Still cool. Really
Yeah.
cool. We're still in touch. He's a great guy.
Nice.
But I think so we were in a band, and I said, dude, you're really cool and all, but he didn't practice that much, and he wasn't maybe as good as other drummers. So I got another drummer. We broke out, broke off for a while, and I missed him a lot. And I called up. I said, listen, I apologize, but you weren't really into the drums that much, and maybe we could still be friends, and we became best friends again after about oh no,
Keep going. It's okay.
long story. So I'm dominating here. So I had the comfort of. Even the cool jocks would say hi to me because I was Richie's best friend.
Right. Okay.
Right. And so I got that I would never get picked on by a jock because, like I said, I was the best friend of the best jock in the whole school.
You were safe. Man.
I was
You were
safe. And then there were a lot of kids who thought I was
It's like
cool
going
just
to
because
prison. You like got to have someone protecting you in prison, sort of thing.
I was his bitch.
Right. What did you do for him? don't tell us. We don't want to know.
So anyway,
Only cool things.
That cool things. Only cool things until I stopped being
Ask
cool.
Rick.
Rich.
Rich, ask
Richie.
Rich. Sorry,
Anyway,
Rich.
yeah. Anyway, so that kept me safe in high school.
Yeah.
So my high school years, as far as popularity and everything, were pretty safe.
Yeah.
Anyway,
And what's cool about getting old? We'll finish up with a bit of
yeah, what I was saying was that I think at a certain point it's true that you as you get older, younger kids stop thinking you're cool. Maybe you're like an older guy. I mean, my son's girlfriend addresses me with the formal address.
Wow.
In German,
Wow.
right? No matter how many times my son, you can't give my dad the formal address. She can't do it. She can't break out of it, right?
Fair enough. That's good.
But I have to say, his
That's
friends
polite.
give me the Dutzen, the two form.
You're all buddies with
Yeah.
your
So
guy friends.
so with that, but I think there's a point. What's cool about getting old is that you stop caring. At least when I get to my age, whether or not you're cool.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a coolness of not caring about whether you're cool or not.
That
Think
is
about
cool.
that.
That's cool. It's cool not to care, but that was always the case. Even when you were younger and in school, they go, it's cool not to care. It's cool not to care what grades you get. It's cool not to
But
care
did
what
you really?
people think. Yeah, no, I cared.
Yeah.
I was aware and I cared.
you acted like you
so that's
didn't.
why I wasn't cool. Sometimes I had to act like I didn't.
Yeah.
So getting older and being cool, we had a bit like I am now. I've got a lot of younger friends.
Okay.
I
don't have a lot of friends.
Okay, I say a lot. I don't have a lot, but some of my closest friends are younger than me. And when I grew up, there was always like one or two of the older guys hanging out with us. So I've
Yeah.
become that. Like where they're not so much older. They're a
Okay.
bit older, but you're like, that's the old guy
So-
we hang out with, but he's cool.
But he's cool and we admire him.
But then you can get a bit older again. We had another guy who was a bit older. He wasn't a friend of ours in any way, but he was like a friend of my mum's and he mowed our lawn. But he was not as old as my mum. And we were like, he's cool too,
Yeah.
ish. He hadn't broken past that barrier yet of being not
maybe
cool.
there's a point
But
when,
parents, mum's age, not cool.
not cool. Maybe there's a point though when you're really young, anyone older is not cool. But then when you get a little older, like in your 20s maybe, you start seeing cool things in
In them, yeah.
older people.
Yeah.
And I wonder like for a teenager, once you go over 25, do you lose a certain level of coolness, or I don't know but when it kicks in, like you're now by young people considered old.
Yeah, don't know. But I guess it's like with our taste buds changing and us enjoying fine wine and cheese and things, our eyes mature as well and we see coolness in other things.
I like that. That's a good way to end it. Cool. Boom.
Take it easy,
Wasn't that
Craig.
cool how we did that?
See you in the next one.
Next one, dude.